Well, we've just finished watching the penultimate film in our Studio Ghibli marathon, which is Howl's Moving Castle, directed by Hayao Miyazaki in 2004 and based on a book written by Diane Wynne-Jones. Obviously, it's not a Japanese piece of fiction.
Clearly.
The story follows this girl, Sophie, who encounters this witch, the Witch of the Waste, who turns her into an old woman. And so Sophie decides to leave her town and goes and meets up with the wizard Howl, who lives in this sort of gigantic, walking, steam-powered... we kind of said it was kind of Monty Python-esque moving castle.
Yep, definitely.
There's also sort of a subplot of there's this war going on in the background that Howl has gotten himself caught up in. While Sophie's living in the castle, she does work cleaning. She starts working for Howl, and she meets all these kind of different characters and bizarre
she's
spirits.
Kind of the heart of the group,
exactly.
I guess you'd say.
Now, that's basically the plot. I would say that this is my favourite of the Ghibli films we've watched so far. And just going through what I liked. First off, I thought the animation was really good. You had something to say on that.
Yeah, I mean, the animation was great, but the background kind of, whenever they were moving against the foreground and background kind of stuff, it seemed very unreal.
Yeah.
It just looked off.
I see what you mean, but I still think that, well, for starters, there's a lot of great visuals, and it comes back to what we talked about, how it's not just the quality of the animation, it's what you are animating, which we've talked about in a couple of different films. The scenery in this film is beautiful.
It's stunning, yeah, definitely.
And so the fact that they do good animation adds so much to it.
I mean, there's some really great scenic shots, especially when they're down with the castle at a lake or something. It's just superb, really.
What else? I also think that the story. This film has a great story that really it's quite broad. It's definitely would appeal to kids.
Yep.
But it's also there's
good
enough for older people as well. What I come to as the film's biggest strength, though, is the same reason I liked, same reason I would count Princess Mononoke as my second favourite film, is that it has really strong characters.
Yep.
They're all really deep, they're not, two-dimensional, they have real personalities, they're interesting, they're entertaining, and you actually, you really care about what happens to them.
Yeah, and they all have stories.
Exactly.
There's just no throwaway paper characters.
Totally. And they're not who you expect they are. You think that one person is going to be the villain, but there's actually more to that character than just the bad guy. Howl himself is far from just a hero, although he does act heroic at points.
Certainly. He's also very childish.
Exactly.
I mean, he's, in a way, the youngest.
Well, that's a good point.
Even though he's technically the oldest.
Because Sophie is this young girl.
Yeah.
But
she's very, very mature.
She is mature. And it's really interesting, the whole age dynamic in the film.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because she herself spends most of the film as an old woman.
Yeah.
But she's still a child, but at the same time, she's also a very mature child. Mm-hmm. And, I really enjoyed that. What else did I really enjoy? I really enjoyed the music. What did you think of?
The music, it has a great main theme. It suits it. There's not really much more to say. I mean, it's not stand out above the rest like I think Mononoke is, but it's still certainly among the strongest of the music in any of his movies.
I would agree. Now, we want to talk about the message of the film.
Of course.
All of Miyazaki's films have had some kind of underlying message. We've generally picked up on
either anti-war or environmental.
We've generally picked up on the environment one. It's not really here.
No, not at all. I think,
but maybe.
Kind of,
but certainly
maybe,
it's not prominent as it is in a lot of his other films. There is, as with many of his films, a very strong anti-war message. And you actually said, watching this film, and you see this very obvious anti-war message, and then you actually look back at his other films, and you realise they all have the anti-war message.
Not all of them, but
most of them. Porco Rosso, Firefly. Oh, well, Firefly is Miyazaki, but it's Ghibli.
Yeah, most of them. Not every single one, but pretty much all of them have.
Which I think is a really kind of positive thing to have in films like
this. I think Kiki didn't have a message. I think that might be why.
Yeah. Not talking about Kiki.
I think I just figured out why we don't like it so much.
I do have a complaint of this film, and it's a complaint that as it happens, it really irritated me. Looking back, it doesn't really detract that much because the rest of the film is so strong.
Yep.
But the ending is quite ridiculous. It's a very it's a happy ending.
It's an oh crap, let's wrap it all up quickly.
Exactly. It's very convenient. Something happens in about 5 minutes. All of a sudden, there's peace and prosperity through the land, and everyone is happy, and you're like, well, I'm really glad everything worked out, but that makes no sense.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
It
also, in my opinion, ruins one of the characters.
The
Turn of Head. Who is a enchanted kind of cursed scarecrow, and he has a turnip for a head. And he doesn't speak for the whole movie until the end, and he is probably my favourite character.
He's very
because he has such a good personality, even without having to talk.
Exactly.
Which I think is what makes him so great. But the end just kind of goes, oh, he's actually this, and
the ending was
so cool.
Was kind of, it felt ridiculous. It felt like they realised, like, oh, the movie's finished, but the war's still going, and everyone's in danger, so we'll just wrap that up, and oh, look at that, everyone's happy.
In a sentence, a wizard did it.
Yeah,
to a certain extent.
Exactly. Still, that's definitely not enough to take away from the
film.
No,
I mean,
it's excellent.
It's probably the low point in the film, if anything.
Yeah.
And it's not even that low.
No, exactly. You just kind of like, at that point, you just kind of roll your eyes and go, well, fine, do that.
Yeah.
Still, definitely a great film. I'd recommend it to anyone, anime fans or not, young and old.
I mean, it's certainly a film that'll get you into anime, much like Spirited Away.
Yes.
This is probably a film that did. I mean, if people saw Spirited Away and liked it, they would have seen this because it came out
This is
2 years
the next Miyazaki film, the next prominent anime.
Yeah, I mean, it's
for the West after Spirited Away.
It's maybe even more well known than Spirited Away. I'm not sure because Spirited Away won the.
Well, Spirited Away won the Oscar, and I think people kind of they think of Spirited like people think of Spirited Away. I think when they think of anime because it is that film
it's the one that's well known.
But I think if you a lot of people I've talked to who are kind of not specifically anime fans but definitely film fans actually prefer Howl's Moving Castle to Spirited Away, as do I. And you kind of feel the same way?
I suppose I do. I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, I think they're about equal. I mean, I can't speak for anime fans as such because, surprisingly enough, Ghibli doesn't actually come up that often in conversations unless it's to people who haven't seen anime before. It's kind of like...
It's for people like me who are like trying to get them to like anime.
Not like kind of like the hardcore who've seen hundreds and hundreds of series kind of thing. So I can't say which one it would be more popular for them.
I certainly think that those are the places to start. I think what happened with how anime was introduced to the West happened really well because Spirited Away and Howl's probably the two most identifiable. They give you a good sense of Miyazaki's style. They don't seem specifically targeted at the West.
No, it's just kind of like this is what he wanted to do.
But there's still stuff that people can enjoy. And like Nausicaa or Laputa, the early films, they're perhaps a little too alienating.
I'll give you that.
Whereas the films that we've kind of said that maybe seem like they were trying to be Western, like Kiki.
Maybe Porco
Rosso. I felt, I know you felt the way with Kiki, not so much Porco Rosso, they kind of felt like they were trying too hard to be something they weren't. Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle are the ones that really show Miyazaki at his best.
Yep, definitely.
And if you like these films, then that's when you should go further.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's about it. I would definitely say go and rent this film if you can.
Yep, go rent it. It's a great watch. Even if you haven't seen any anime, I think this is a great point to start. So
definitely
go out and watch it.